Good morning, and here we are, Sunday the 17th of May, part 2. And I hope this format is going to be useful. So we're going to look at John chapter 17, verses 13 to 23. So if you need to pause this video now, please do. Look it in your Bible, open up a new browser tab and have a read through it. Okay, so hopefully you've had a chance to do that. We're going to focus on two things in here. The first is that Jesus says that he has given us his message. He's given us the Father's message. And that message is one of joy and hope and love. And so really what I'm saying here is this is our job now. Jesus gave it to his disciples, and then he goes on to say, and for those who will believe in me because of these disciples. And then the second thing that I want to focus on is that this prayer is about unity. So Jesus knows he's about to die. He knows he's about to be betrayed. And the thing that he prays about in this time, in this short window that he has, is for unity for his believers. And he prays that because he says it's the unity that they have for one another that will convince others of my love for them, your love for me, and spread your message, your good news. What a challenge. What a challenge. That's what I'm going to say. I love this little booklet, this Newtown Local Directory. This is the second edition. And to me, this directory is a symbol of working together with other agencies and other churches. It's got all sorts of useful things in it. But for me, like I say, the thing that it says to me is we are working together. This is a network of organisations and believers. Wow. And so I say that as an encouragement, really to say that there is some good work happening between the churches together. I've had phone calls with other ministers and they've said, we're not allowed out, but we can ring people and we can be of use in this way. I received a phone call and it was somebody else saying, we'd really like to support what you're doing. Can we help in this way? And then I've been able to call somebody else to say, love what you're doing. How can we help you? And it's been really, really great. We've been sharing volunteers, sharing faith, I guess, in this time when it's been difficult to keep going by yourselves. So to be able to share some encouragement and some love with one another has been just what the doctor ordered. And I hope that has been your experience too. James chapter 5 verse 9 says, do not complain, brethren, against one another, so that you yourselves may not be judged. Behold, the judge is standing right at the door. And I think this is really difficult. I've said this to you before. I think it's really difficult not to complain about other believers. But I have 4 really good reasons why you shouldn't criticise your fellow believers and why you should choose to encourage. And really, again, I'm talking to myself, but if this helps you, great. So, 4 things that happen when I judge other people. One is that I lose that intimacy with God. I've actually put myself up as higher than God because I'm saying I can do God's job. The judge is God, actually. So when we start judging and criticising our fellow believers, we're saying we're God. So I'm going to try not to do that anymore. The second thing that happens, I expose my own pride and insecurity. It's not what we want, is it? and it's not cool. So we need to handle some of that stuff. If we've got pride and insecurity that's jumping up and biting us on the behind, we need to deal with that. One book that really has helped me, and it's something I'm still working on, is Brené Brown's book, Dare to Lead. Fantastic author, really, really helpful. There's some TED Talks as well that are really useful. The third thing is I set myself up to be judged more harshly by God. God's going to judge me anyway, that's his job. But if I set myself up to be judged by God by my own standards because I have judged others, I am in deep, deep trouble. So I'm going to try and take myself out of that equation. And lastly, and I think this is the most important in some ways, I harm the fellowship of the church. I harm the fellowship in a small context. I harm the fellowship in the wider context. So when we start criticizing and judging people instead of encouraging, we are damaging the fellowship, but we're also damaging the witness. And Colossians chapter 3 verse 14 says, most of all, let love guide your life, for then the whole church will stay strong in perfect harmony. Again, that applies to your smaller context. That might be a small Bible study, it might be a wider church, and it might be wider church with a C. So let love guide us. Instead of doing all of those things, let us encourage. So when we encourage others, God is truly working in us, and we sense that working within us. That intimacy with God grows when we encourage other believers. When we choose to encourage others and humble ourselves, again, that relationship with God, because he pays it back in dividends. He says to us, I love you, child. You are my beloved child. And when we look at others and we can see that, when we can say to them, you are God's beloved child, and the way you just ministered to someone was beautiful, then it's beautiful. It's beautiful, and God will pour that back out on us as well. And when we encourage others and we don't judge them, again, we've removed that barrier between us and God, and he judges us righteously by his own standards rather than ours. And when we choose to encourage rather than others, Jesus says that's how other people, that's how unbelievers will know that you are mine. That is how this message of hope and joy and love will be authenticated. So, I don't know who it is you need to encourage today. I've got a couple on my list. I've got some notelets at the ready that I'm going to drop some messages to. Maybe a text, maybe an email. But go out there and encourage the socks off your brothers and sisters today, will you? And if you've been the recipient, please share that. We love to hear your good news stories. And and I am feeling blessed right now by those of you that have rung, have messaged, have dropped letters. And a special shout out to our divisional commanders who sent me 2 tea bags as well this week with a gorgeous encouraging note. So thanks, George and Jeannie. God bless you. And God bless all of you too. Bye.